It's a Friday. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Msheche, and let's take a look at your top stories tonight. SADC Chairperson President Mnangagwa is expected in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea on Saturday to attend the 7th African Union Media Coordination meeting, where he will join fellow African leaders on Sunday in defining the strategic direction of the Union for the coming year. We shall also look at the Drug and Substance Resource Mobilization Initiative, which was launched in Harare today, targeting to raise 77 million United States dollars. President Mnangagwa presided over the launch, where $3 million was raised. Later on in the bulletin, we unpack the growing diplomatic and trade relations between Zimbabwe and France, with both countries committing to further strengthen ties. And in sport, the New Zealand cricket team is in Harare for the T20 International Tri-Series with hosts Zimbabwe and South Africa. That story and more in our Look at Sports. And in news in great detail, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is also the SADC chairperson, is expected in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, this Saturday to attend the 7th African Union Media Coordination meeting, where he will join fellow African leaders in defining the strategic direction of the Union for the coming year. The meeting has been presided by the 47th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the AU, composed of Foreign Affairs Ministers from AU member states. The 7th AU Media Coordination meeting brings together the AU Assembly Bureau, which comprises head of state and government, chairpersons of the 8 regional economic communities, senior officials of the African Union Commission, and the continental body specialized agencies and other institutional partners.
The review of all our programs is in progress, and Africa is moving towards that idea of its founding principles of an independent Africa, an Africa that trades amongst itself, an Africa that is proud, and an Africa that is willing to interact with the rest of the world, giving the world the positive values of Ubuntu, the positive values of peace, the positive value of prosperity, the positive value of cooperation. So this is what we are discussing. We are also preparing for their excellencies to come and do their summit on the 13th, where they are focusing on various issues. But as we are preparing for His Excellency the President, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, who is coming here as chairperson of the SADC region, to come and sit with his colleagues and map the way forward for this continent. We are very positive that Africa, through this, will do well, is going to do well, and we have demonstrated that it has done well through unity in several areas of endeavor. So we are really optimistic, and we are looking forward to a better Africa through our efforts.
Earlier today, President Emmerson Mnangagwa led the call for urgent action against drug and substance abuse, warning that the future of Zimbabwe's youth is under serious threat. The National Resource Mobilization Campaign, launched at State House this Friday, has raised over $3 million, but government says at least $77 million is needed to fully respond to the crisis. Faith Nyaude reports.
With President Mnangagwa at the helm, Zimbabwe's response to drug and substance abuse just entered a new phase, one backed by funding and a growing national consciousness. The president, this Friday, launched the Drug and Substance Abuse Resource Mobilization Campaign, a move aimed at ensuring that rehabilitation centers across the country are rehabilitated and returned to functionality.
Individuals and corporates to give life and hope to survivors of drug and substance abuse by supporting the capacitation of the 67 identified rehabilitation centers. Your donations and pledges will make a difference in facilitating the smooth flow of programs being undertaken by the Drug and Substance Abuse Committee.
Funds raised from the campaign will support the renovation of 67 rehab centers across the country, as well as capacity building for care providers and awareness campaigns targeting communities. President Mnangagwa noted that drug and substance abuse is not only affecting Zimbabwe, but is a global menace.
I've directed all local authorities to avail the requisite infrastructure for repurposing into treatment and rehabilitation centers, with a total of 67 centers so far identified.
Over $3 million was raised today, a significant start toward the $77 million target set by the National Committee on Drug and Substance Abuse. There were big contributors towards the initiative, including businessmen Wicknell Chivayo and Scott Sakupkanya, each pledging over $1 million, while Special Presidential Investment Advisor Dr. Paul Tungwarara promised $200,000 plus 10 30-ton trucks of cement. Cabinet ministers, including Anxious Masuka, Jenfan Muswere, Daniel Garwe, and Kazembe Kazembe, each pledged $10,000, while Youth Minister Tino Machakaire pledged $30,000.
We do the business, we sell 10,000. Asimuchidimbu, he wants to be part of this journey that we have started, and he's so excited, and he is pledging $1 million.
Others currently active in resource mobilization are the mining sector, Delta Beverages, faith-based organizations, the United Nations, the Association of Rehabilitation Centers, and the Traditional Leaders Support Services. The UN says it has so far mobilized $1.5 billion to support different programs across the country, with the fight against drug and substance abuse included.
And I'm happy to report that the fight against drugs abuse is fully embedded in our programs, and it cuts across all our investments and our support to your priorities in the country.
Meanwhile, players from churches to companies also offered support, including cement, rehabilitation services, and community outreach platforms. Over and above, the statistics back up the urgency in this cause. 31,000 have been nabbed for drug offences since President Mnangagwa launched the Drug and Substance Abuse Plan last year.
To date, over 779 convicted offenders have been named and shamed without fear or favor. Demand reduction programs focusing on raising awareness and education about the dangers of drug and substance abuse reached nearly 10 million people. In terms of treatment and rehabilitation, 15,648 patients.
Over $3 million pledged here at State House today. Some of the gestures pledged in kind by different individuals across all sectors of the Zimbabwean economy. All this in a bid to ensure that we fight drug and substance abuse. Now we wait to walk the talk. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyode at State House in Harare.
Youth advocate and drug rehabilitation expert Tekmo Mazurise joins us live to share insights into the current efforts by government to fight drugs and substance abuse. Good evening, Mr. Mazurise, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. Do you believe the $3 million United States dollars raised so far for the National Resource Mobilization Campaign will go a long way in addressing substance abuse among Zimbabwe's youth?
So I believe the $3 million raised through the National Resource Mobilization Campaign towards drug and substance abuse is a very good step. Yes, we still have a long way to go in view of the targeted $77 million, but I believe the fight against drug and substance abuse is not an event, it's a process. So the money that has been raised thus far will go a long way in terms of raising awareness, in terms of plugging existing gaps around rehabilitation, in terms of ensuring that all the key stakeholders are informed about the required steps in the national fight. So we commend the drivers of this National Resource Mobilization Strategy, and we equally call on all important players to join hands in this very important fight against drug and substance abuse. Indeed, we need to safeguard our future by way of ensuring that our young people do not continue to be involved in drug and substance abuse.
Mr. Mazurise, what strategies would you propose to ensure long-term sustainability of efforts to combat substance abuse among Zimbabwe's youth beyond the initial funding and awareness campaigns?
So for those seeking help and those in recovery, I think it's very important that we work around reducing stigma, especially for survivors and victims of substance abuse and those affected by mental health Let's be more supportive as a community, as a nation. Yes, they may have been involved in such vices, but they remain our citizens, they remain our children. And the more we are accommodative, the more we are supportive, the more we are likely to win them over, so that they can be easily reintegrated into our communities. And beyond reducing stigma, we also need to work around sensitizing them on available resources. I think we spoke about the 3 million raised so far towards the fight against drug and substance abuse. So if we educate them on available resources, they'll be able to actually get involved and get the required support so that they fight the vice. It may seem impossible now, but I'm sure with unit of purpose, we'll definitely win the fight against drug and substance abuse. All hope is not lost, and I'm happy that government, private sector, the community at large, development organizations, we are all joining forces in this important fight.
As you know, we have those in recovery and those seeking help. How can we reduce stigma around substance abuse and mental health issues among young people in Zimbabwe and increase awareness about the resources available to help them?
So for those in recovery and those seeking help, we really need to work around issues of stigma. For a long time, we've grown accustomed to disparaging statements and sentiments, aimed at those who are victims and survivors of drug and substance abuse. Let's ensure that we are more embracive and tolerant of these young people and even the elderly involved in drug and substance abuse. They remain our citizens, they remain our children, and the more we are tolerant, we will actually win them over and help them recover. And it's also important that we also sensitize them around available resources, as seen by the mobilized resources through the National Resource Mobilization Strategy. So how do we ensure that they also benefit from those? Let's put in place a task force that sensitizes all our communities around Zimbabwe on the available resources. We can even use our social welfare services to ensure that every citizen in every corner of the country accesses those. All the other important stakeholders that are also going to be playing a part can also complement ongoing government efforts towards the victims and survivors of drug and substance abuse.
Thank you, Tekmo. That, of course, was Tekmo Mazurise helping us unpack the importance of the Drug and Substance Abuse Resource Mobilization Initiative, which was presided over by President Mnangagwa. Later in the day, the president addressed the ZANU-PF Women's League National Assembly meeting, where he reaffirmed government's commitment to prioritize implementation of empowerment projects for women.
President Mnangagwa, who's also the ZANU-PF First Secretary, commended the Women's League for standing resolutely as a critical bloc of the nation's development agenda. The president pledged that government will continue prioritizing women empowerment initiatives and tackling issues that hinder their progress in society.
To date, government continues to implement infrastructure development projects throughout the country to support the economic empowerment of women, youth, and SMEs.
Earlier in the day, the president presided over a resource mobilization meeting to fight drug and substance abuse. $3 million United States was raised at the event. The president took his anti-drug abuse message to the Women's League, where he challenged women to play their part in the resource mobilization program.
I therefore appeal to the Women's League and all women of our country to assist in addressing the drug and substance abuse menace, which is largely affecting the youth. You will have a very critical role to play in the families, in society, against drug abuse.
Women expressed gratitude to the president for spearheading infrastructure development that support economic empowerment of women. Secretary for Women's League Mabel Chinamona gave reports on women empowerment projects already rolled out in all the country's 10 provinces.
Makati wakira zvakare musika wembiri wepamusoro-soro. Izvozvo zvega baba zvinotiita kuti isusu vanhu vemuno muZimbabwe tizive kuti kana mati mimi makataura kuti 2030 makanga musingatambe 50,000 tumahukwana kwatakagoera mumaprovinsi mese umu kuitira kuti madzimai wachengete huku pashaiwe munhu anoti pamba pake hapana huku.
Women empowerment remains at the core of Vision 2030, with President Mnangagwa continuously supporting initiatives to ensure women participation in the country's economic development. For ZTM Prime, I am Sitachisiwe Gwaza at the ZANU-PF headquarters in Harare.
Newsplus takes a break. Stay with us.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela, kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Win big in the EcoCash Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in, send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for two in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Newsplus. France and Zimbabwe's diplomatic and economic ties continue to deepen. The French embassy in Harare hosted Bastille Day celebrations at the ambassador's residence, with diplomats, business leaders and stakeholders gathered to mark the national day. But the conversation quickly turned to trade, investment and cooperation across sectors.
Bilateral ties between Zimbabwe and France have grown steadily since 1985, grounded in mutual respect and practical cooperation. From economic partnerships and trade deals to cultural exchange and climate commitments, both countries continue to build on a long-standing diplomatic relationship that now looks to new sectors for shared growth.
Under our French school, which commemorated in 2025 40 years of presence in Harare. And the French alliances in Bulawayo, in Harare, who keep alive linguistic and cultural relationships.
According to UN's Comtrade, trade between Zimbabwe and France grew by 20% to reach approximately $70 million last year. Zimbabwe mainly exports raw tobacco, hides and minerals to France, while France exported around $16 million worth of heavy machinery to Zimbabwe in 2023. At the recently held inaugural Zim-EU Business Forum, France recorded the largest number of European exhibitors, a clear sign of France's strong commitment to deepening trade, investment and business partnerships with Zimbabwe.
With France being represented at the European Union Zimbabwe Business Forum with the biggest number of companies, with new partnerships such as the ones between Proparco and Stanbic, Proparco and NMB, with 2 visits of Digital Africa, a French initiative supporting young startups in Africa.
The French Development Agency has been instrumental in funding critical projects in energy, water, health and infrastructure, paving the way for sustainable growth and strong economic ties. In Hwange, the French embassy, working alongside the government of Zimbabwe, has also established a dedicated research platform for biodiversity conservation in partnership with local communities. Zimbabwe, for its part, has pledged to strengthen this partnership, emphasizing closer cooperation in trade, investment and sustainable development.
Zimbabwe and France enjoy cordial and long-standing bilateral relations rooted in mutual respect and a shared commitment to multilateralism, development, cooperation, and peace.
As France continues to champion clean energy and smart agriculture globally, Harare says the Bastille Day celebrations are more than symbolic. They are a sign of stronger ties and fresh opportunities for collaboration.
To the good health of His Excellency, the President Emmanuel Macron, and His Excellency, the President Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. To peace and prosperity for the government and the people of the Republic of France. To strengthen and broaden bilateral cooperation between Zimbabwe and France. And, of course, to your good health, Your Excellency, Ambassador. Cheers.
Now, the French embassy has been in Zimbabwe for the past 40 years, an indication of growing bilateral relations between Zimbabwe and France. Ibn Mabunda, reporting for ZTN Prime in Harare.
The Department of Civil Registry has successfully computerized 20 registry sub-offices countrywide, directly linking them to the national database. Registrar General Henry Machiri told journalists that the government, collaborating with development partners, is working on rolling out the program to 20 more sub-offices in a move that is expected to boost the system's infrastructure and improve the security of the country's registry system, which holds critical information in its database. Machiri said the department is undertaking a mobile registry drive across district, with the program having been successfully completed in Chiredzi and Makonde districts before moving to Bingwa and Mangwe districts, where the development is stationed this week.
The mobile teams are working closely with the community leaders and village heads to identify individuals who lack documentation and ensure that no one is left behind. Mobile registration exercises have already been conducted in Chiredzi and Makonde districts for a period of 1 week. Currently, the department is conducting mobile registration exercises in Binga and Mangwe districts. In partnership with UNICEF, we've embarked on the computerization of sub-offices to improve efficiency, accuracy, and security of our civil registration systems. This digital transformation has also greatly enhanced data management, modernized our business processes, and improved the service delivery to the members of the public. I'm happy to say that in 2024, a total of 20 registry offices, that is sub-offices, were computerized, and another 20 sub-offices are earmarked to be computerized this year, 2025.
A permanent secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Raphael Faranisi, said government has made it a priority to issue every citizen with a national identity regardless of their location, in line with the government's policy of leaving no one behind. He said the ongoing exercise will provide reliable and timely data for national development in line with the best international practices.
Digitization of civil registration will not only modernize our service delivery, but will also strengthen national planning and policy formulation by providing reliable and timely data on birth, death, and other vital events, in line with best practices and our international obligations. The Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage extends its appreciation to the Embassy of Sweden's Development Cooperation Agency and also the Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation for their continued support through UNICEF. These interventions reflect our shared vision as we rally towards provision of legal identity documents for all by 2030.
In a significant booster to the fight against HIV and AIDS, the Dr. Timothy J. Stamps Trust has made a generous donation to the Mashambanzo Care Trust, a leading center for HIV and AIDS treatment, care and education. Details in the following report.
In the vibrant suburb of Waterfalls, a beacon of hope shines bright.
The Mashambanzo Care Unit, a sanctuary dedicated to the treatment, care and education of people living with HIV and AIDS, has been a pillar of support for vulnerable communities since its establishment in 1990. A timely donation from the Dr. Timothy J. Stamps Trust has brought renewed energy to the mission, aiding operations at a critical time when Zimbabwe continues to strive towards eradicating new HIV infections.
When we get the patients who come in with the HIV-related ailments, some of the services we are not able to offer ourselves. We can only offer those services which are not the high level of management.
However, challenges persist. The director of Mashambanzo Care Unit raised concerns over limited access to antiretroviral drugs, ARVs, and called for stronger government intervention to address this pressing issue.
But ARVs are a challenge. We get them through Waterfalls, which is a clinic hospital, from NatFarm. But we hope and pray government will fund NatFarm so that they continue giving ARVs.
The World Health Organization statistics reveal that Zimbabwe has an HIV prevalence rate of 11.7% among adults, ranking among the top 10 countries most affected by the epidemic. The chairperson of the Dr. Timothy J. Stamps Trust reaffirmed their commitment to continued support for the center, stressing the importance of capacity building and sustainability.
The capacity is here, it's underutilized, and we're going to assist them to make sure that that capacity is fully utilized, and then we look at the next stage.
Former Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. John Mangwiro, highlighted that the care center could play a vital role in tackling other diseases beyond HIV and AIDS, which are often linked to the condition.
So we are suggesting that Mashambanzo also extends its management, because if someone is HIV positive, they come here for their treatment, you can not really afford to send that patient away without managing their diabetes or their hypertension. So because these are now interlinked, and we definitely find that
as the nation confronts a complex health landscape, partnerships like this offer a glimpse of hope that with collective effort, no one will be left behind in the fight against HIV and AIDS. For ZTN Prime, I am Francisca Msheche in Harare. The Tanzanian community in Zimbabwe joined millions across the globe in celebrating the 4th World Kiswahili Language Day, underscoring the language's role as both a cultural cornerstone and a tool for liberation. The colorful celebrations held in Harare this Friday brought together Tanzanians living in Zimbabwe, language enthusiasts and diplomats who paid tribute to Kiswahili's growing global significance. Guest of honor, Zimbabwe's Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology, Ambassador Frederick Shaber, emphasized that the commemoration comes at a critical time when the world is witnessing the erosion of mother tongues due to increasing global migration and displacement of communities.
With the advent of our people migrating to foreign lands, their offspring have increasingly become disconnected from their mother tongues. We now have generations that can no longer converse in their mother tongues, which in itself connotes a disconnect, a total disconnect from their culture. Your Excellencies, as many of you might know, Kiswahili is the most widely spoken African language, with over 200 million speakers across East, Central, and Southern Africa.
Tanzania's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Her Excellency Susan Kaganda, expressed gratitude to Tanzanians living in Zimbabwe for their role in promoting and upholding the Kiswahili language and culture in the diaspora. She noted that language is a vital link to one's roots and a bridge to fostering Pan-African solidarity.
Mgeni rasmi, Kiswahili ni zaidi ya maneno na sarufi. Ni sauti hai ya umoja, urithi na utambulisho. Ikinenwa na mamilioni barani Afrika na kutambuliwa kimataifa. Kiswahili ni daraja linalounganisha watu mbalimbali, historia tofauti na ndoto za pamoja.
Over 700 youths have successfully completed training in self-empowerment programs aimed at combating child marriages and drug abuse. The participants, including both disabled and able-bodied individuals, are receiving help from the Welfare Trust of Zimbabwe in various skills such as baking, nursing aid training, and dressmaking.
One of the nurse aid trainers, Yvonne Nyerudzo, emphasized their commitment to empowering young girls from the community. The training lasts for 6 weeks, with several girls benefiting from the initiative.
We are equipping them so that if they get this opportunity to learn and knowledge and to have enough knowledge, they will go outside there and start to help the community, even if they don't get jobs.
Another trainer, Ms. Makua, stated that they are empowering women in baking as part of efforts to combat domestic violence. She highlighted that they are also working closely with women who have disabilities.
Tine madzimai atinoshanda nawo vari kuitawo futi macourses kureva kuti vakukwanisa kubatsiranawo nevarume mudzimba. Mhirizhonga yemudzimba inenge musisina, munhu wese anenge akuuya aine chaakabata. Pavanhu vatinotraina futi tine vanhu vari disabled vatinotraina. For now tine one mudisabled watiinayo watinenge tichidzidzisawo kubheka makekes nekuti kuve disabled akureve kuti hakwanise kuitawo zvimwe zvinhu zvaanoda kuzviitira muupenyu.
Emmanuel Mazenda, a beneficiary, expressed his sense of belonging in the empowering environment, vowing to break free from the dependent syndrome. The director of the Welfare Trust of Zimbabwe, Mofat Siwizani, praised President Mnangagwa for his support of empowerment initiatives that also assist disabled individuals in becoming self-sufficient.
Tinenge takatarisira kuti munhu wese auye kuzodzidza pano tichireduce nyaya dzemacrime, nyaya dzemadrugs, nyaya dzema-early marriages. Saka machallenges atiri kusangana nayo ndekuti isu hatina equipment, tumari twatinenge tuinato twasho tushoma itoto ndito twatiri kutenga zvatinotenga kutiwo vadzidza voenda zvavo kunotsvaga mabasa, vamwe vachizonozviitira vega mabasa avo.
The organization continues its mission to support vulnerable communities through income-generating projects, operating under the motto, "Go and meet your people, live and stay with them, work with them, and begin with what they have." Latwo Nyangu reporting for ZN Prime in South Park, Harare.
When we come back, we will give you news from around the world. Stay with us.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now in news from around the world, Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuga has vowed that Nigeria will not bow to pressure from the Trump administration to accept Venezuelan deportees or third country prisoners from the U.S. His comments follow threats from Washington to restrict visas and hike tariff on countries who do not comply with its deportation policy. Earlier this week, the U.S. Department of State said as part of a global reciprocity realignment, nearly all non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to citizens of Nigeria, as well as those of Cameroon and Ethiopia, will now be single entry and valid for only 3 months. U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to impose up to 50% tariffs on Brazilian exports has drawn widespread criticism among local citizens in the country. Trump announced on Wednesday that a 50% tariff will be charged on goods imported from Brazil, effective on August 1. Brazilian media have criticized the tariff hike as a politically motivated move, arguing that it unfairly targets Brazil, which is one of the few countries with which the U.S. has a trade surplus. They argued that such measures are an ineffective way to address the U.S. trade deficit. Many Brazilian citizens have also expressed frustration with the U.S. government's decision, which they believe is detrimental to their economy and national sovereignty.
Que não é justa. De jeito algum, é impensável que homem no mundo em que nós vivemos, nessa época em que vivemos, homem possa tomar uma atitude dessa irresponsável que pode prejudicar o seu próprio povo, criar inimizade com os outros povos.
The European Union, EU and Israel have reached an agreement to improve the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. The European Union External Action Service said the deal will allow a substantial increase on daily trucks for aid and supplies to enter Gaza and open more crossing points in the northern and southern parts of Gaza. Israel also committed to the reopening of aid routes from Jordan and Egypt, the resumption of fuel deliveries for use by humanitarian facilities, the protection of aid workers and repair and facilitation of works on vital infrastructure, like the resumption of the power supply to the water desalination facility. The EU stands ready to coordinate with all UN agencies and NGOs to ensure swift implementation of those urgent steps. Moving on with our stories, prolonged high temperatures and droughts have caused water levels to drop in major rivers across Germany since the beginning of this year, posing challenges to the country's shipping sector. The Elbe River, one of the major waterways in Germany, has seen its water levels in some sections fall to the lowest levels since 2018, where the river is no longer able to carry cargo ships. German Weather Service DWD said the water level of Elbe River's Dresden section has lowered around 60 centimeters, noting that global warming will bring more frequent droughts in Germany, making low water levels a long-term challenge.
Also ich denke mal, dass die Schiffe schlechter fahren können. Das heißt, die Schifffahrt wird vermutlich irgendwie eingestellt werden müssen. Und es ist natürlich irgendwie auch ein Lebensraumschwund für die Tiere, die im Wasser leben. Ja, es regnet wenig. Das hängt sicherlich auch mit dem Klimawandel zusammen und mit der Erderwärmung. Ja, das würde ich jetzt mal so schätzen.
French President Emmanuel Macron has failed to reach an agreement with British leaders on the timing for recognizing a Palestinian state during his 3-day state visit to the United Kingdom, which started on Tuesday. While addressing the British Parliament during his first day of a state visit, Macron reaffirmed his support for a two-state solution, saying the only way out of the Palestine-Israel conflict is recognizing the state of Palestine through diplomatic channels. The British side also voiced support for a two-state solution, but emphasized that any recognition must form part of a broader peace process.
I don't, to be honest, have a lot of hopes from either Macron representing the EU or the British. I feel that they've always supported Israel. There might be some difference in perceptions or the theatre of what they present, but I think fundamentally there's not going to be a lot of change. I don't have a lot of hope from the Western regimes, full stop. The crux for me was that in June, they were supposed to hold hands together and recognize Palestine, and Israel says no, and they give way.
China has expressed grave concern over the deteriorating security situation in Yemen and called for immediate de-escalation at a United Nations Security Council emergency session. China's Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Xie Shuang, expressed deep concern over the escalating situation in the Red Sea, particularly the regional security risk arising from attacks on commercial vessels.
中方对胡塞武装和以色列进行新一轮交火，事态发展有恶化趋势，感到担忧，呼吁各方保持冷静克制，避免采取刺激紧张局势升级的行动。保护平民和民用基础设施安全是各方必须遵守的国际义务。尊重各国主权、安全和领土完整是各方必须遵守的基本原则。
And still in China, China has achieved substantial progress in ecological and environmental protection during the 14th Five-Year Plan period 2021 to 2025, demonstrating measurable improvements in areas including afforestation and pollution control.
绿色已经成为当代中国最鲜明的底色。这5年的成效集中体现在增绿、治污、 用能、循环4个方面，增绿全球最多，森林覆盖率提高到25%以上，新增的森林面积相当于一个陕西省的面积，贡献了全球新增绿化面积的1/4。治污成效显著，空气质量优良天数比例稳定在87%左右。 这个比“13·5”时期呢提高了3个百分点。长江、黄河2条母亲河干线全线达到了2类水质的标准，这个呢是一个很了不起的成绩。
Stand by for business news. Up next.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM. Harare's heartbeat.
In business news, 2 days after Delta Corporation told Parliament that high sugar prices and taxes are making it harder to keep beverage prices down, Zimbabwe's biggest sugar producer has pushed back. Hippo Valley Estates and Triangle Limited say local cost structures reflect broader economic realities and that there is no shortage in the market.
Delta Corporation appeared before Parliament this week, warning that steep sugar costs are weighing down its operations and nudging consumers towards cheaper imported products.
You can have a situation, I've put in the graph there, so in 2021 you would have been able to buy sugar from our suppliers at a price of $680 per ton. But because the international markets firmed, this price is going to at times as high as 1,200.
Delta acknowledged that a new 30% import duty has reduced competition from foreign sugar, but argues the combined effect of that duty and Zimbabwe's sugar tax is pushing up beverage prices.
But I think what we understand from our colleagues out in Tongat, they also follow the trends in the pricing of sugar on the international markets.
In response, Hippo Valley Estates and Triangle Limited, both owned by Tongaat Hewlett, say their pricing reflects broader economic pressures, which are high input costs, steep interest rates, and rising transport charges.
And this is not a function of anything that Tongaat Hewlett does. It is a function of the environment in which we are currently operating. If you want to go and buy a bag of fertilizer right now in Zimbabwe, you will find that it is more expensive than a product that you can import from South Africa or from Zambia or indeed anywhere else in the region.
The company insists there is no sugar shortage and that this year's crushing season started well with adequate stock to meet domestic demand. They also highlight that all their table sugar is fortified with vitamin A and meets international quality standards.
But even as we started this season, we had close to 85,000 tons of sugar available in our warehouses. So there really is no question of a shortage of sugar in the country. And we just want to reassure our customers that the product that we sell is of the highest quality possible.
Still, the sugar tax remains contentious. Introduced in 2024 and halved this year, Zimbabwe's levy on soft drinks is still higher than regional benchmarks. Other players, Star Africa has also reported declining demand for industrial sugar, blaming the squeeze on pricing by beverage manufacturers.
Tongaat, Delta and all other players, let's just go in one room. Let's discuss this. We don't need 2 days. One day you should be able to find each other and you source locally.
Parliament is now pushing for a balanced policy, one that supports public health without stifling industry competitiveness. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude in Harare.
Mobile network operator Econet grew its subscriber base by 2.17% in the first quarter of 2025 and is now holding 73% of the mobile network operator market share. While sector-wide penetration dipped slightly due to population growth, Econet has recorded a 20.68% surge in data traffic. Now, as a way to maintain its market share, the operator is giving away prices ranging from houses to cars. Our business reporter, Melissa Chatikobo, gives us the details.
It's not every day that a mobile subscriber walks away with a house, but for one 27-year-old woman, Econet turned that dream into a reality. For Don Daba, just using his mobile more has earned him a solar panel. But beyond the feel-good stories lies the business strategy. Zimbabwe's mobile sector is increasingly competitive, and Econet is positioning itself to lead not just in numbers, but in digital usage. In the first quarter of 2025, the company grew its subscriber base by 2.17%, pushing its market share to 73%.
And if you look at the promotion that we've been doing, joy after joy, I think it's one that resonates with our local way of celebrating things, our local way of interpreting life situations, and really just the fun of being part of the brand. I think it's the fun.
The telecom sector saw a 1.38% increase in mobile subscriptions to 15.89 million. Yet mobile penetration dipped slightly to 101.39% as population estimates grew. Econet has shown as playing the long game, which is investing in user growth and digital dominance.
They really actually have a profound impact, and that's why you see year after year we come back with these kinds of promotions. Because what you see when you interact with customers, sometimes after everything is said and done, what they remember is, how do you make me feel as an individual?
As the Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority forecasts sector-wide growth this year, driven by 5G rollout and improved operating conditions, Econet believes growth will be won through innovation and incentives. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Nyabira.
Stand by for sports news. In sport, Dynamos travel to Gweru for a family reunion as they go up against a Tel 1 side that is under Herbert Maroa, who once led the side and has a number of players who once wore the blue of Dynamos. We get more in the following report.
Dynamos are back on the road this weekend as they travel to the Midlands to face Tel 1 at Ascot. Ahead of the encounter, midfielder Temptation Shunga says they've done all they can in preparation for the clash as they're out to change fortunes.
I think as a team we've been preparing well. The whole weekend the morale has been good in the camp. We know what is at stake and we know the situation that we are in, and we are ready to fight and then put the team where it belongs. So starting from this week, I think we're gonna have something positive for us to push forward to be able to win the battle that we are in right now at the moment.
Dynamos last tested victory back in mid-June and have collected 6 points from a possible 18 in their last 5 games and are working on turning around fortunes.
We're putting every effort that we can. We're trying to stay united, and we also urge our supporters to be patient with us, support us all the way, because it's not easy where we are, and then we need everyone to be involved, to support us for us, so that we can be able to fight and then be able to survive. We know the team doesn't belong where it is right now, but we are ready to give all that we have. We're not sleeping, we're having sleepless nights so that we can change this situation, but I believe it's just a phase, and then we're going to turn around the situation and things are going to be better, hopefully soon.
Head coach Socha Minuka says they've done all they can in their bid to return to winning ways and hope to disappoint Tel 1.
We have prepared, and I want to think that we have done all there was to do this week so that we can go and bring the much needed 3 points and we start going up the ladder, which I have no doubt is going to start happening soon, and starting with this game. Yes, Tel 1 are a very good team. They are up there, and people may look at it as a very tall order. We're trying to tackle them at their own home ground. But for Dynamos, I think Dynamos is always at home, whether here in Harare, wherever it is here in Zimbabwe. Dynamos are at home.
Dynamos face a Tel 1 side that is unbeaten in their last 5 games in the league and will be hoping to become the first team to defeat Tel 1 since May.
Second-placed Simbabora will this weekend go up against Herentals as they look to return to winning ways after being held at home by ZPC Kariba. The side will be hoping for a positive result after having drawn in their last 2 games.
The preparations for the Herentals game are going smoothly. The morale and spirits are high in training. We have a clean bill of health, so we're looking forward to having a good outing. It's actually a morale booster, and we will seek to put up a good performance and represent the brand of Simbabora to the best of our ability. We take each game as it comes, but most importantly, we're not worried about being unbeaten, but our primary objective is putting up decent performances as to how the coach wants us to play.
The New Zealand cricket team arrived in Harare on Thursday ahead of the T20 International Tri-Series with hosts Zimbabwe and South Africa. The Tri-Series is scheduled to run from 14 to 26 July 2025 at Harare Sports Club, with each team facing the others twice at the round-robin stage before the top 2 sides meet in the final. The Black Caps will begin the tournament with a match against South Africa on 16 July before facing the Chevrons 2 days later. New Zealand captain Michelle Santner is excited to be back in Zimbabwe after almost a decade.
Yeah, obviously first thing we're looking forward to it. It's nice to be back here in Zim. We haven't been here for a few years. 2016 we had a great tour and a great time, so we're expecting something similar again against two very good teams. It's great to see Zim playing a lot of cricket, obviously a lot of test matches as well. So they've been doing a lot of good stuff recently, and it's going to be a great series. And same with Saturday. Yeah, it's a little bit up in the air at the moment. A few boys in America's playing the MLC, so it's finals time at the moment. So there's another game tomorrow. We can get a couple more people. So I guess in terms of prep, it's not great. I guess with everyone not being together, but everyone's been playing cricket. Boys have been playing there. Boys have been playing in England. So everyone's got some matches under their belt.
New Zealand coach Rob Walter echoed Santner's sentiments, adding that they are expecting the rest of their squad to arrive over the weekend.
The guys that are much are playing in the MLC, so they're certainly not short of any cricket. So from a prep point of view, it's one impact possible. The guys will be together in a couple of days' time, and that's enough for us to get ready. So yeah, that's for the series. I'm looking forward to a great series. 3 really good teams. Good to be here in Zim and play. I know the fans will be here. There's always a good crowd here, isn't there?
And in rugby news, the Zimbabwe senior national rugby team will face Kenya in the semi-finals of the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup on Sunday, with a one taking them a step closer to qualifying for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in New Zealand. Sabres captain Hilton Mudareki says they are wary of the threat posed by Kenya, but geared up for the clash.
Yeah, no, Kenya's a quality team. Having come up against them over the last couple of years, we know that they've got amazing athletes and threats all over the field. But for us, we've been working hard on executing a game plan. And if we tick those boxes that we've been working on, it might stand us in good stead. We've got quality depth in the team. Guys are fighting for places and creating great headaches for the coaches to pick a team, which is exactly what you want going into a test against Kenya. We want boys pushing each other, to fighting for those jerseys, to represent the country on Sunday. I think Zimbabweans.
And in entertainment, the second week of July has a lot to offer on the entertainment scene, from gospel, contemporary to cultural music events lined up around Zimbabwe. Here are some of the highlights lined up.
All is set for the 2025 July Worship Music Festival, headlined by Minister Michael Mahendere at Bogravio Sports Club in Harare this Saturday. Now in its 4th edition, the event will take place from midday to 9 p.m. and will feature an array of praise and worship stars, including Minister Elad Cherai and his wife Sharon, Blessing Jedathan, Eliana Makumbe, Nyasha Mtonori, Cleo Ari, and Samantha Harry. Sulemani Chimbetu, who is celebrating 20 years as a professional musician, will stage 2 shows in Harare this weekend. Tonight he performs at Food Nest restaurant nestled in the heart of Longchamp Plaza in Belvedere. And after this show, he will hold another performance at Maka's Sip and Eatery in Hillside, Harare this Saturday. This particular show is special as they will celebrate one of the finest female arts promoters, Wanisai Mawindo Mutandwa, who has been consistent in the game. Red Hot Chimurenga musician Kurai Makore will be in action at the Grub Restaurant and Pub in Eastleigh, Harare this evening. Backed by the Black Lions Band, Makore's show starts at 8 p.m. And after this performance, the United Kingdom-bound crooner will proceed to Muja's Bar in Southerton, Harare for another show on Saturday. Superstar Ja Praiser has landed in Canada for 2 live shows as part of his Ndini Mukuzei tour. Promoted by brothers Mike and Malcolm Vidiri of Biggs Entertainment, the singer will perform in Edmonton at the Union Hall this evening, while the Toronto event will take place at LW Outdoor on Saturday.
That concludes our news bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We now leave you with the weather. My name is Francisca Msheche, and have a good night.
Listen, gather around. Okay, I saw
Cublo Vibes.